Hello, DCPS families. Welcome to Parent University, all about the guide to graduation, career, and college. My name is Taylor Stanley. I'm the Family Engagement Specialist. I'm glad to be joining you all today. As a heads up, my 15-month-old daughter is in the background, so you might hear her. She is a future DCPS graduate, so I'm taking notes as a parent as much as you all are, but I'm so happy that you all are joining us today. For those of you who speak Spanish, French, Chinese, Vietnamese, we have subtitles for you, a subtitle feature for you. And so also, we do have folks who speak Spanish and French who will be able to translate any questions that you might have after you turn on the captions feature. We're really happy to have this feature. It allows us to engage more folks. But for our Spanish-speaking families, we do have a workshop tomorrow completely in Spanish at 3 o'clock. And so if you'd like to sign up for that, the link to that is also the same one that you use to sign up for this workshop. So feel free to join us. Microsoft Teams allows us the ability to use a moderated Q&A. That allows us to keep the conversation flowing, but it also allows us to find the themes and the questions that you all have about the topic, and then it allows us to answer them. So we may not post everyone's question, we may not post everyone's comment, but we will try to answer the ones to the best of our ability. And we do have an amazing expert who will be able to answer your questions specifically related to the guide. So that's a really awesome feature, and she'll be answering your questions that way in the Q&A. We do ask that we do have some community best practices. So we ask that you assume best intentions, go hard on ideas, not on people, and then accept non-closure. We only have an hour, so we can't touch on everything that we might like to about the workshop, about the guide, but we do ask that you continue to ask questions, and then we'll stay on a little bit later to answer the last few questions. We'll also have a question and answer period, so that'll be a good time to ask your questions as well. So Parent University, it started off as a 5-series workshop, initially for elementary and middle school families. I'm really excited because this is my first time hosting a workshop solely for high school families, and you all are amazing, and I have a lot to look forward to. So any tips that you have, also feel free to put them in the Q&A. So like I said, this is an opportunity for you to share what you know, learn from other families. If you've used the guide and you've come up with, and you've come up with great activities to try with your family, by all means, share them. We'd love to learn about how our families are using the guide at home. So as the purpose of Parent University is also an opportunity to learn from other families. So in that, like I said, you all are the experts. People will be sharing advice, putting their input into how they use the guide. And so by all means, check the Q&A to see if any other parents are providing some pro tips. And I know the main reason you all are here is to hear from DCPS folks as well. And so we have an amazing team of experts who have come here to provide you all with best practices on how to use the guide, how to walk through the guide. And so I'm really excited to have you all engage with them. Part of our philosophy at DCPS is that families play 5 roles in accelerating student learning. Communicating high expectations. When you talk to your child about the importance of making good grades so that they can to set up a post DCPS life, either through college or career, you're communicating high expectations. When you by opening the guide, you're monitoring their performance, and you'll be able to see how you can do that in the guide. Supporting learning at home. Our staff will be providing activities for you to try at home that relate to the guide, and so that's a way for you all to do that. And then guiding your child's education. That's exactly what the guide does, and so I'll go into a little bit more into that. But then advocating for your child. You all have done this since your child first started school, and you have gotten your children this far, and so that deserves a round of applause. And I'm sure that you've seen how that role has shifted from like the lead advocate to now having a child who's old enough to advocate for themselves. And so that's a natural progression that you see as an adult and as a parent. So, like I mentioned, I said that I would go more into what it looks like to guide your child's education. When you talk to them about their interests, goals, and aspirations, when you encourage them to do extracurricular activities and get involved in additional opportunities, understanding how academic performance affects future options. You know, we know that, you know, the way that a child operates in school can impact how many options that they have after high school. Checking a student's course collections against graduation and college acceptance requirements. Supporting a student to plan for college and career. So you all are doing that, and that's amazing. And then helping students understand which college options are available. This tool also does that. And then visiting campuses and knowing where to go for help. And so while you may not be able to visit campuses now, there are ways to explore everything that different colleges have to offer. So I'm going to hand it off, and thank you so much for being patient with me and allowing my daughter to get some screen time and to speak to you all. I am so excited to introduce you all to Dylan Hart Medina, to Karime Naime, and Fallon Dodson. And so I'm really excited to have you all talk with them. And feel free to put questions in the Q&A, and we'll either get to them at the end and we'll have someone answering them in real time as well. Great.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Karime Naime, and I'm the Director of College Prep Programs here with DCPS. So I just wanted to speak with you over the next few minutes to kind of just give you an overarching understanding of what the guide is and the intent that it's meant to do. So the guide in itself, it's a document, it's a resource that the district created with the intent to be as individualized and as personalized as possible for all of our students starting in 9th grade. And the idea here is that we want students to have a true understanding of what they need to do to graduate, what they need to do to pursue a career, and what they would need to do to pursue college, depending on the pathway that they're interested in. Each student receives the survey within the school year, and based on those interests, based on those responses, the guide is generated for them so that each year you can evaluate and review the guide with your child alongside to really see the progress that they're doing. We can flip to the next slide. The next slide really shows you all what the guide is, the different aspects of the guide. The guide, as I mentioned, it's meant to be individualized. So all of the data that it's pulled into the guide, it comes from the student's records. It's a transcript, it has the assessment scores, and it has the post-secondary survey information. It's also action-oriented, as I mentioned in the introduction, because it provides step-by-step guidance on what the student needs to do to earn a high school diploma and what they would need to do if they are pursuing college or a career pathway. The way in which the guide is released, we actually release it twice a year. The spring release is what you all should have received at home by now. And if you didn't receive it in the home, we're actually going to walk you through how you can access it through the students portal in Aspen, because it's also available electronically. So in the springtime, we release the guide for 9th through 11th graders. And then in the fall, we release the senior guide for those students that are entering their 12th grade, to let them know, where they are as far as their interest. And as I mentioned, it's accessible because in addition to being available online and also at home, it's translated into 5 different languages. So I'm going to pass it on to my colleague Dylan, who is going to explain to you all how you can access the guide through Aspen for those of you that may not have it in your hands.
Great, welcome everyone. And so as Karime mentioned, the guides are available in both paper form. 9th through 11th grades went out in early March, and then seniors had their guide in October. But the guides are also available in the Aspen parent portal. So once you there's a couple different ways that you can access the guides after logging into the parent portal. And the first way is to be able to access the guide through the parent portal homepage. So after you log in, you can download the guide by clicking the file in the lower right-hand corner of the screen under Published Reports. And so the page that you're seeing right now is the home page. If you go to the bottom right of the screen, the guide should appear under Published Reports. It'll have the child's first name, followed by the guide to graduation, college, and career. So if your child's name is John, say for example, it would be John's Guide to Graduation, Career, and College. So we can go to the next slide to look over the second way to access it in the family portal. So you can also download your child's guide by clicking on the Family tab at the top left of the banner, and then clicking on the Documents tab that'll appear on the left side. So after you click on the document side, you should look for the document that'll be titled with your student's name first, followed by Guide to Graduation, Career, and College. So those are two of the main ways to access the guide from the Family Portal account. We can kind of continue to the next slide. So as Karime kind of gave a great general overview of how what the guide is in general and how it fits into graduation and post-secondary planning. Now we'll kind of go to the nuts and bolts of the guide and review a few of the guide pages here. So every guide contains an opening letter, an unofficial transcript, students' progress towards graduation, and that'll be specific to the student and the school, as some graduation requirements vary by school. There's also a college page. There's 2 pages devoted to career paths, and then there's an action step page. So essentially, overall, the guide provides up-to-date information on sort of where your child is towards graduation, post-secondary planning options, and then how to achieve those post-secondary goals that your child has. The first page is the opening letter sent from the chancellor. It has some contact information for the schools, like the school's counselor, if there's a college and career coordinator, and some of the principal's information if you're looking for ways to get in touch with the school. So for the transcript and graduation page, I'll hand it off to Dr. Fallon Dodson, who is our manager for counseling programs.
Thanks, Dylan. I'm super excited to virtually meet with you guys today. So let's talk about the transcript. As Dylan mentioned, it is an unofficial document, but it's extremely important. It houses all of the final grades that you earn each year that you're a high school student at DCPS. Plus, if you start taking high school credit courses while you're in middle school, you'll also see those courses listed on your transcript. So what colleges and future employees will see, you'll see your final grade. They'll also see the name of the course. They'll also see the number of credits that you earned in the course. If you look down towards the bottom of the page, you'll see the different abbreviations. So if your child is in an honors course, they'll earn an extra half a point towards their GPA. If a student takes an AP course, they'll earn an extra point towards their GPA. So for example, if a student took an AP English course and they earned an A in the course, instead of earning a 4.0 in an AP course, they would actually earn a 5.0 GPA. So there are definitely benefits of taking rigorous course sequences with DC Public Schools. The same thing goes for IB courses. You will also earn an additional point towards your GPA. We also offer dual enrollment courses where you can earn an extra point. It also, on our transcript, you'll also get a chance to see our weights for each of our courses. And as a school counselor, what's really important, colleges and future employers can see how you serve the community. You get a chance to see the progress that you're making for community service hours. And in our school division, all students are required to earn 100 hours of community service in order to graduate from DC Public Schools. So it really gives you a chance to talk about how you're serving your community while maintaining strong grades. If you can go to the next slide, please. These are the graduation and college pages. They are chock full of information where you can see your community service requirements, any fine and performing arts courses that you've taken. If you go to a school where a capstone is required, you can see your progress towards that course. You can see how many elective courses that you take in each year. In addition to the progress, have you earned 4 Carnegie units towards your English requirement? Have you earned the appropriate number of credits that you need for foreign language classes? The same for history, if you need an internship course, and for health and PE, for music, you get a chance to see how you're doing each year as you're working towards graduation. When you look on the college side, you get a chance to see how competitive you are for college admissions. And so you get a chance to look at colleges in not only the DC area, but in Maryland, in Virginia, and in North Carolina. And you get a chance to see how your grades stack up with other students who may apply to these colleges. You get a chance to see, okay, how's my GPA? Am I taking a rigorous course sequence? Am I pursuing my passions and interests? What colleges are the best option for me? You get a chance to explore all of that information in addition to seeing how your PSAT and your SAT scores align with a specific college or university. So the practice SAT, the PSAT is just for practice. We want you guys to see where your strengths are in math and reading and writing, and you'll get a chance to take the actual SAT in March of your junior year. So you get a chance to start thinking about the college admissions process. We're looking at grades, we're looking at SAT scores or ACT scores. They want to look at your overall body of work. Have you served your community? What things are you passionate about? Do you love art? Do you love to dance? Do you love to play a musical instrument? That's what colleges are looking for. And so I'm going to turn this over back to my colleagues so we can move forward on the career side.
Great. The next couple of pages in the guide are focused on career, and so each student will actually receive three different career clusters that populate. So these career clusters are based on what a student had indicated they are interested in as part of their post-secondary planning survey. So the example that we're seeing right now is for the career cluster information technology. So within each career cluster, on the guide, you'll see sample types of jobs, sample hourly